Welcome back. In this lecture, we are going to see how to use views in SQL Server. What is a view? You can consider view as a virtual table which contains a saved select query. For example, you are writing some select query. You can put the select query in a view. Interestingly, view doesn't store any data. So even though you create a view, even though you call it as a virtual table, it doesn't store any data. It always goes to the base tables and executes the query and returns the output to the user. You might be wondering what is the use of having views. The advantages are it's for reusability. Suppose you have a query which is a very long query, you can store it in a view so you can reuse it again and again. You can have a row and column level security and you can summarize the data. For example, in your organization, some other business users want to access the data inside a table. So you have a database, it contains 4 to 5 tables. Suppose they don't know how to use joins and also they don't know how to summarize the data, then there is no way of giving access to them. What you can do for them here is write a select query which does this joins and also summarizing the data and put it into a view and give access to the view. They can able to execute the view and get the results out of it. Now, what is the syntax of creating a view? It is about create view and give the view a name as the select statements. Whatever you want to do it, you put it inside a view. It's a very simple syntax. Let's get into a demo. So I'm going to drop these tables first. If I've already used it, let me drop it. So I'm going to create this table, age details, with 4 columns: ID, first name, age, and department. I'm going to insert 3 rows, for 2 rows with HR department and 1 row for a software department. Let me run this insert statements. Now let's create the view. So what is the syntax for creating a view? As we already saw it, create view, give the view as a name. So we say that age details data. We're going to say as. So we're going to use a select statement, select star from age details. This is the table name. So let me create the view now. The commands completed successfully. You go back to the Object Explorer, go to the database. Under the database, go to the views, refresh it. You see that age details data has been created successfully. Now, what we can do here is, once the views have been created, how do you query the data or how do you use the views? How do you select, how do you execute the views? Once the view has been created successfully, how do you execute the views? As you remember, I told you before, views are virtual tables. So you can use a select statement, select start from the table name to get the data from views. Select start from, when I say table name, it's a view name. Inside the view, there is a table there, but you're not exposing that table to the end user directly. It is exposed through a select statement through a view. In this example, we're going to create a table age details with 4 columns: ID, first name, age, and department. I'm going to insert data inside the age details with HR software as the departments. I'm going to insert 2 rows for HR and 1 row for software. Let me execute these queries first. Once the data got already inserted inside a table, let's create a view to retrieve the data from the table. So what I'm going to do here is, this is my select query, select star from age details. I'm going to save it in a view. So I'm going to create view, give the view name as test view as, and then give the select statement. Let me execute this query. I go back and check under the Object Explorer, under the database HR. I'm going to see whether the view got created or not. I could see the test view got created. How to execute this view? As you remember, the view is nothing but a virtual table. So you can put a select statement or you can execute a select query using the view name. Select star from test view. And that's why maybe it is called as a virtual tables, because you can able to use a select query for the views. And you're going to execute this. We are going to see the output. Let's create another view where there is a requirement where your HR head of your company and coming and asking you, I want to see the values of my employees or my department employees, I want to see the average age for my department employees. For him, he doesn't want to care about any other department. So we have two departments. We have the data inside the table, age details. One department is HR, another is software. And we want to give average age for his department employees. So in this way, we can apply a row level security. That means the rows that he wants to see only we have to take it and do a aggregation. When you say aggregation is a summarization of data, we are going to summarize the data and we are going to calculate the average age for this department of HR. And that is a requirement the HR head wants to give you. He wants to see the data in Sql Server. For you don't want, he doesn't know how to create aggregation. He doesn't know how to apply a row level security. So let's do it for him. Let's create a view for him and give the view to him so that he can run anytime. So for creating the view, the same syntax: create view, test view, HR as. So the query we are going to use is select. I'm going to do the average age of the department from the age details table where the department name. So I don't know what is the column. So let's go back and see the column name. The column name is department, where department equal to HR. So I'm creating a view for him. I'm going to create this view because the create view got failed because the average age doesn't contain a column name, just giving the number of average age. So give an alias column name as average age so that we give a column name. Now let's create a view again. The view got created successfully. Let's execute this view. So now the HR, you've given the view to the HR department. So he's coming in and executing the view. He doesn't know what happened to the query, what is the aggregation you did it. He wants to see the average age. That's it. He's going to put a select star from test view HR. And then he's going to execute on it. He sees that average age for his department employees is 26. In that way, you can hide the implementation. Suppose in business users doesn't know how to implement it, you can hide the implementation, give them the view, they can execute it and see the results. That is one of the purpose of using a view in your production environment. Okay, let's look at another example. I have a question for you guys. Can we update a view? When I say can we update a view, what does it mean is where view doesn't store any data. Can we do an updatable view? That means when you're doing update query on the view, can it go and update the base table? Is it possible or not? So let's test it out. What do you guys think? Is it possible or not? Yes, it is possible. We can be able to update the tables, base tables using a view. Let me show you an example. I'm going to write an update query. Watch over. I'm using a view name, not the base table name here. So update test view HR, but it doesn't contain the column which I want to update. So I'm going back to the previous view I created, the test view, because we are selecting all the columns here. So I'm going to take this view, update test view, set the column name value. The column name I want to set is age and set age equal to 38 and then for the person or room. So the person first name the column is first name. So let me do that. So update test view, set age equal to 38, where first name equal to Arun. It is a string, so these single quotes here and before the character and after the character, use single quotes. Let me update this test view. You could see that the view got updated successfully. So what does it mean is it doesn't have any data. When you're executing this query, it goes to your select statement, takes your base table, and goes and updates it. Let's test it out by selecting this table. Select star from age details. Let's try it out. You could see that for Arun, the age got updated. So you can update through a view the base table. Can we do insert and delete? Yes, it is possible to do it as well. But ensure that, so suppose you are having a view which has multiple tables and joins together, you may not have the accuracy of the data being written, updating through a view. So please ensure that when you have a joins or multiple tables involved, try to avoid doing updates, inserts, and deletes using the view. Until this point, we are testing it out how to create a view, and we also tested how to update a base table using a view. Now, how do you modify a view? You can go back to this Object Explorer, go to your test view, right click on it, and script view as. You can say alter new window, new query window. You will say alter view, DBO test view, whatever query you are written here will be shown. You can say add some conditions where first name equal to on, and then you can execute this command to modify the view. So the view got modified. You refresh back. You can see that whether the text can be updated is updated or not using this command sp_help test view. You can see that now your whatever where condition you have added, it got updated through the view. You can see the views from either from this Object Explorer or using sp_help test. How do you drop the view? You have to go back to the Object Explorer, click on the view, right click on it, and you can say delete, or you can also say drop view test view. You can just execute this query. Now the view got dropped. Go back and refresh the views folder, and you won't see the test view. In this lecture, we have seen how to create views, how to modify views, how to drop the views, how to use updatable views to update the base tables.